you would take? Nothing. I mean, I teach Gen Chem 1, Gen Chem 2, and the lab. I teach organic lab. I teach Biochem 1, Biochem 2, and the Biochem lab. I teach analytical, the analytical lab, and I teach instrumental analysis. Easy. This one. Yeah. Like real chemistry? I mean, the first semester of general chemistry is an easy lab in that there's not a lot of chemistry going on. There's a lot of just thought and getting you ready to do chemistry. In terms of fun, it's my seniors when they design their own projects and they figure out like how much iron is in cat food, or we look at how many pesticides are in your drinking water, or things like that. Berries? None. None. Yeah. No, our samples are pretty much super clean because we have our own reservoir, our own drinking water, which is, unless you're doing something crazy in that reservoir, pooping in it, should be okay.
Like for mountain campus, they have like water towers.
Mm-hmm.
They have something like that halfway up the road to go to the res, and that's mountain campus. That's like all the water. It's already been filtered, already done. You hash for it. It's not rock, and it goes straight from that tank. 2 people's like tap. You drop the rock in there, and like you can drop anything. You can put a body in there, and then it goes straight to your tap. And I think that's a problem.
I will make a note of that. I'm having lunch with the president on Friday, so I'll let him know. Right. Yeah, so my students are concerned about bodies in the water. Yeah. Alright, so between today and Monday, we're going to finish all the milk and cheese stuff. You could totally do a cheese experiment. If you want to change your idea between now and November, that's okay, because we're going to cover more materials. So we're going to do milk and cheese, and one of our labs will be making cheese. So that's an idea. We're going to be making mozzarella, ricotta, and and one other one. So you can make all those cheeses in about an hour and a half. Yeah. So if you change your mind between now and November, that is okay. I just wanted everybody to start thinking about it. All right, so milk and cheese. We'll start off with milk. Right, so only a few ruminants produce most of the world's milk supply. It happens with these 5: cows, buffalo, yaks, goats, /sheep, and camel milk. What are some kinds of cows you guys know? Holsteins, yeah, Jerseys. Brown Swiss cows, yeah. That's a Holstein. The only other kind that produces milk that we use. Those are the 4 types of, there's lots of other types of cows, but those are used for meat production rather than milk production. This would be a brown Swiss cow if you had it in color, just brown. Guernsey. Named after the islands that they're found. Just like Jersey is a capital J, not for New Jersey, but for original Jersey in the United Kingdom. There's the island of Jersey. And so when they moved here, it's the New Jersey. From all the old Jerseys who moved here. Kind of like New York, right? Because there were York people in the United Kingdom that moved here and made New York. And New Hampshire. Yeah, all the words with new, like New Mexico, right?
I'm not clear on what New England is.
It's the part that's like England that's here. New. Newer. Geographically? Yeah, there's no real good cutoff point. Alright, buffalo. More specifically, water buffalo rather than American buffalo. Right, that guy's a water buffalo. So when you're eating true mozzarella, like mozzarella from Italy, it's actually water buffalo milk. Water buffalo mozzarella, true mozzarella. Right, so when you look at the label and it's like made in Italy and it's actually mozzarella, and it's water buffalo milk. So it would be like Holstein or Guernsey milk. So in lab, we're going to make not true mozzarella because we're going to start off with cow milk. Yes. They were originally in Asia, like in India, and Italy has a large population. They're real shaggy, right? So they're not good in real hot climates, but they're good in like moderate cold climates. Yeah. We do have American buffalo. Yeah. Yeah, when you see cowboys and Indians, that's like American buffaloes. And this would be Indian water buffalo. Yeah. Which you could milk a regular buffalo. You can milk any of those kinds of animals. Like yak milk. So yak milk is a very popular milk and fat in other parts of Central Asia. And you can ferment yak milk and make it alcoholic milk, which is a popular drink also in Central Asia. Alcoholic milk. It's kind of like eggnog. Yeah, it would be eggnog-y in consistency, kind of thick. Almost cheese, but not really. But with a alcoholic kick. It'd be like drinkable cheese with an alcoholic kick. Yeah. It's like wine and cheese all blended up. Like, can it blend? The answer is yes. Blend it all up. Let's see, goat and sheep. Right, so these are hardy animals that can eat just about anything. So those are the animals that make true yogurt. So they were the original yogurt makers. Now we mostly use regular cow milk. But feta is definitely a goat cheese. So it's a goat milk that's been turned into cheese. Next time you eat feta, be like, goat milk. Weird. And then Roquefort cheese, which is another type of cheese that's specifically made from. It's Roquefort. Q is Q, Roquefort. After a region in France. They use goat and sheep milk with cheese. And then camel milk. Very similar to cow milk, so you can make cheeses and just drink its milk if possible. Obviously, it's more popular in the Middle East. You can also make some fermented camel milk drinks also. It's apparently becoming very popular in the U.S. to drink camel's milk. Good, yeah. I guess people are concerned about cow milk having a bunch of different things in it, and so they're switching to camel milk. So, why? I don't know. Why do people do things? I don't know. We're all concerned. Alright, dairying. Here's my little milkmaid, right, milking the cow. So all the ruminants, all 5 of the animals listed on the previous page. Right, they've mostly been used for milk to make cheese and or yogurt or just drink. Their skins, right, that's where leather mostly comes from, as well as the heavy work. Right, so either they're pulling sleds or they're pulling carts or whatnot. Alright, so early evidence from Eastern Europe and Egypt show that shepherds first noticed that milk was able to separate into curds and whey. Where if you've ever had a container of milk in your fridge long enough, the solids kind of settle to the bottom and you get this kind of liquidy, or you may see it in yogurt too, depending on what brand of yogurt you're buying, where like there's a clear liquid on top and there's all the solids on the bottom. The solids are the curds and the whey is the liquid portion, and that means it's on its way, if it's milk, it's on its way to either making butter or cheese. It's starting to separate itself out. So at this point, when you separate out, you're on your way to making either cheese or butter or yogurt. We'll talk more about how to make each one of those in a minute. Alright, milk and health. Alright, so milk has protein, sugars, vitamin A and B, as well as calcium found in it. Anyone here lactose intolerant? Oh, perfect. Alright. So, right, cow milk, as well as some of these other milks, are obviously edible, but depending on who you are, you may or may not have the right enzyme combination to digest it easily. Everyone can eventually digest it, just depends on how much discomfort you and the people around you have while you are digesting the milk product. So, when you are lactose intolerant, what exactly does that mean? Alright, so lactose, the sugar or carbohydrate, made of glucose, galactose. So it's 1 glucose hooked to 1 galactose to make this dicarbohydrate. So lactose makes up 40% of the calories in milk, so it's a large portion of what the milk is made up of. Alright, so this bond right here, right, your body can digest glucose and it can digest the lactose, no problem. But there's this bond in here that's keeping them from being the two simple sugars. So you have to have an enzyme called lactase, and its job is to break that bond in half and send you off with one free glucose and one free galactose. And your body knows exactly what to do with those. But you have to have this enzyme to break that bond. So your lactase concentration in your stomach decreases with age. So you find that maybe you're not lactose intolerant right now, but maybe in like 20 years you'll find that milk and ice cream and yogurt don't agree with you as much. It's because your body doesn't keep up with making this enzyme. Pretty much you're not born with all the enzyme you're going to make, but you're kind of at your peak when you're the youngest. So, if you don't have lactase, I'll just do it like this. Lactase, yeah, the enzyme. So, if you have low lactase concentration, so you don't have a lot of the enzyme, then the lactose is broken down by bacteria in your stomach. And small intestine. And this bacteria, when it does its job of breaking down, it breaks that bond. When the bacteria do it, you get a byproduct of carbon dioxide, which is the same gas like when you open up your can of soda, right? Bubbles, lots and lots of bubbles. Some hydrogen gas. And some methane. So you have methane, smells like natural gas. And when you're thinking natural gas, that's that kind of smell. Methane, hydrogen, carbon dioxide, lots of bubbles, kind of smelly bubbles, are being made in your small intestine. And the bacteria need extra water to do this process, so it's going to suck water in from the outside into your small intestine, which makes your small intestine bigger than normal, which is bloating. So if you don't have lactase and let bacteria take care of this, you will have smelly bubbles and lots of water in your small intestine, which is the discomfort you feel from being lactose intolerant. A way around that is to take those lactase tablets. Is that what brand they are? Something like that, when it's milk intolerant. You just take the pill, and the pill has the enzyme in it. And so you let the enzyme do the work. So you can artificially bypass the bacteria process. So it turns out that, I wrote right today. Okay, so fun facts over here. If those weren't fun enough, more fun facts about lactose intolerance. So it turns out that different nationalities / ethnic backgrounds are less likely to have lactase for the enzyme. So if you are of Scandinavian descent, yep. That's not spelled right. Scandinavian, something like that. Alright, so only 2% of Scandinavians happen to be intolerant of milk. %, of like French Germans. % of Europeans in general, so not French Germans, but Spanish, British, and then up to 80 or 90% of African American and Asian Americans. So, which again you can get around it by having that little lactase before you can sort yourself out. Yeah. Or they just assume that's just normal. So either they know this about themselves, they just select not to eat cheese and dairy products, or they live with the consequences. Because, I mean, ice cream is delicious. I personally just live with the consequences, and I apologize to whoever is around me while I'm eating ice cream. Sorry. But, or I guess I could take the lactase tablets. I have them. I just never remember to take them until too late. At which point I'm like, sorry about that. Let's see what else. Sorry. One last thing before I move on to the chemistry part. Alright, so milk doesn't contain very much iron or vitamin C. But it does contain lots of protein. And so humans are weird in that we are pretty much the only animal on Earth that continues to drink milk after infancy. If you think of any other animal, once they've weaned, they don't go find some other animal to go drink their milk. But humans do. Humans find another animal and goes drink their milk. So this is great for adults, right? We usually drink the milk for the protein content and maybe some of the fat. But you have to have other supplements for iron and vitamin C. Alright. In my little tiny square, which I'll flip over because I realized I didn't leave myself nearly enough space to talk about chemistry. Milk and chemistry. I don't know what that is. Something. There is a sink on the other side, so maybe they're using the sink in the room that's next door to them. Alright, so milk production for all ruminants, and in fact all mammals, starts with the fact that there's a pregnancy hormone that gets turned on. It tells the animal that you are about to have a baby of some sort, and you need to turn on your milk producing. Same thing for cows when we think about story. It's because they keep being milked. So cows first have to get pregnant. They give birth to their baby to let the little calf shrink for a few months, and then as long as you keep milking the cow, it'll keep producing milk. Up to, I think they milk at 16 months, and then they give the cow like 6 months off to get pregnant again. Then it gets pregnant, has a cow, and they can milk it for another 16 months. So they're on a pretty regular cycle of how long they're pregnant, how long they're milked, then they get rest, and they get turned on again. The milk production is turned on again. I mean, they're going to have a baby, so I guess there's that too.
Isn't there a lot of like controversy about like how technology is
I mean, yeah, I think people are more concerned about meat production, but I guess you're concerned about cows in general, then yes. I mean, it's weird, right, the way that we milk the cow. They now just have their udders hooked up to vacuums and it just sucks the milk out of it. But I mean, the cow, if you don't milk the cow, it is incredibly uncomfortable. It's similar to, but not exact to, if you really have to poop and you choose not to, and you just keep waiting it out. Right, at some point, you will either explode or you'll have to poop. Same thing with the milk. They have to be milked. It's so painful to not be milked that they will actually have some sort of issue with their milking glands if they're not milked. They'll get like the milk will start to solidify inside the glands, and they get like stones in there. Yeah, and so it's so terrible. Yeah. Yes. Very similar to when women are breastfeeding. If they do not continually milk, they'll get like a little sty in there. It's incredibly painful. So,
I got really ranted to by, I was talking to these testimonials who I read very message, and they were all vegan, and they started like ranting to us about how they, like the milk, when they are using the cow to get milk, that they get their babies taken away from them, and it happens over and over again, and they can tell like that the child is being taken away from them, and it's terrible, and it's horrible, and it's
yeah, well, I mean, it's tricky in that, yes, technically, as the baby weans, like they let the calf drink until it's to the point that it's ready for solid food. But as long as you keep milking the mother cow, she'll keep making milk. Like, her body doesn't know to stop as long as you keep pulling the milk out of it, or keep putting milk into its udders. And so the calf's still around. It's just ready for solid food, kind of like a regular baby, right? At some point, the regular baby's ready to eat actual food. But the mom could, in theory, as a human mom, keep producing milk as long as she wants, as long as she keeps finding an outlet for it. Now, that would be like, what's the word in medieval time? A wet nurse. Yeah, a wet nurse, that's what she was. She'd already given birth to her baby. Her baby had moved on to solid food. But she can keep supplying milk to fancy rich people babies. As long as the babies keep drinking the milk, she'll keep making it. Isn't it weird? Yeah. Same thing. Now with cows. I don't know which one's weirder, but wet nurse. Like, I mean, that's really what it is. She'd already given birth, and now she's just going to breastfeed for money. So. Let's see what else. Yes, you can breastfeed, like, as long as the kid keeps drinking the milk, the mom will keep making it. So you can technically breastfeed your child till they're really way too old to be doing it. Really, really weird. So. Alright, so milk and chemistry continues. Alright, so milk contains all these things. When it's fresh milk, not pasteurized. We'll talk about pasteurization in a minute. So milk contains living white blood cells, enzymes, fats, proteins, salts, sugars like lactose, and vitamins. And the color of milk is going to depend on what you've been feeding that cow. So these vitamins, where am I at? Vitamins. The vitamins are going to depend on what its diet has been. And so if it has a lot of grass in its diet, like more grass-fed, in fact, technically all cows are grass-fed. And it lasts a little bit when it's doing, like it's milking or whatnot, they switch usually to some sort of solid pellet feed, just because usually it's really cold outside and the grass has died. So it has to switch to either, you know, like cow food, it's like cat food, but cow food, like little pellet stuff, or hay or whatnot, right? So the color of the milk is going to depend on the diet of the cow. And the more vitamin A it's getting in its diet, the more yellow. Vitamin A is a precursor to beta-carotene, which is the thing that makes carrots orange. And so the more vitamin A, the more beta-carotene, the more yellowy orange the milk is, or the butter is. It shows up more in butter. Like when you buy butter and it's yellow, it's usually because it's been artificially colored, unless you buy special grass-fed. Right. No, it's usually not yellow because it's been pasteurized. And they do milk mixing. So when you buy a gallon of milk, it's actually from a milk factory where they take all the milk from all the farms, dump it into one big tub, mix it all up, and then make individual jugs out of it. And so like the dairy milk goes to a milk factory as well as like any other. Like most of Northwest Georgia all goes to the same milk factory, and it just gets dumped into generic Kroger jugs. You know, unless you buy a specific brand of milk from a specific farm, in general it's all just milk. And Walmart milk and everything generic. Yeah, anything that's generic will probably come from the same factory. If you're paying more for generic one place versus the other, just throw a markup. Actually, anything better. Let's see what else. I think that's about it. Okay, let's skip chemistry. Turns out a cow can make 15 gallons of milk a day. And beta carotene. That's a good question, isn't it? 15 gallons a day, milk, that's a lot. Alright, so we'll talk about milk proteins, milk and whey. So curd, which is the chunky stuff in the picture. So there are proteins called caseins, right, that have been denatured either by heat or acid, something like that. So those caseins are going to denature and coagulate together to make the solid, chunky parts of curds and whey. So these clumps are the precursors to everything else yogurt is used. The something that will go on.
Athens,
Mm-hmm.
do they have a specific secondary protein or specific?
I have a whole section about caseins. Excellent question. Alright, so caseins in general. There's technically 4 different types. So it's the protein that holds calcium together, keeps it from floating away. So calcium is trapped between casein proteins. Alright, so caseins are going to be found in micelles, which are small spheres that have the protein so that the hydrophilic is on the outside and the hydrophobic is on the inside. They make little blobs of protein. The protein is like a little circular ball. So with increasing acidity, which can either happen over time or like when we make cheese, we're going to add some lemon juice to it, so acid. So as we increase acidity, the micelles fall apart. Right, so they start to denature. The proteins start to coagulate to each other, and that's what we call curdling milk, when the milk starts to go. Now, the smell comes from the milk fat getting oxidized. When we talk about fats getting oxidized, they give a funky smell. That usually happens before the milk separates. So the smell of it is usually an indicator that these caseins are starting to fall apart and coagulate and make chunky milk. So if you got to the point of chunky milk to you, it's going to be terrible, terrible smelling. It'll then also, the container will start to bloat because you got some bacteria in there, and so it's starting to make some carbon dioxide and some bloating milk containers. Anyone ever had milk go that bad? Yeah. A few people? Yeah, I've had milk go that bad. I forget about method Freddie Johnson's bad. Next thing I know, like it's bulging. You want it closed, but it definitely you want to open it up outside because it smells so bad. Yeah. They are slightly different. Yeah. So in cheese, this is the first step to making cheese, is to curdle the milk, which you can eat at this point. You can eat those caseins when you eat. A very popular delicacy in like Wisconsin are milk curds, cheese curds. This is probably what they're calling cheese curds. It's just the chunky part of the milk that they made into little tiny balls, which they may or may not deep fry. They usually deep fry, but they may have not deep fried. Yeah, very similar. Yeah. So it's deep fried. It's probably fine. Corey, did I answer your question about caseins?
Yeah, I just know some people take them as like a supplement, but I didn't know what benefit.
I mean, it's just
Like,
a
hey,
type of protein.
I take this.
Yeah, it's no different than taking any other kind of protein. But it's real easy to get. It'd be no, I mean, you can, it's cheap, probably why. So. Other thoughts? Yeah, you can eat the curds. I would say, because usually the stuff that smells bad is the liquidy part.
Okay.
So the liquid part you usually discard, and you can use the solid part.
Okay.
So yeah, if you got your disgusting milk and poured off the top, you could eat the solid part, which you do, because that's cheese. Yeah, with your blue steak. Yeah, or your raw chicken, or whatever else you're eating. So, I mean, yeah. When we make cheese, there'll be more, obviously. We're just going to let it curdle. And then skim off the liquid. Throw that away. Because the liquid is the smelly, yucky part of it. So. Alright, we'll stop there. We'll talk about cooking with milk and cheese on Monday.